Since we're in this vicinity of schedule and configuration of schedule and the never-ending pursuit of the almighty dollar, which I fully support in most settings, Roger Goodell was asked yesterday at the league meetings in Nashville that ended after a 2-day session about the possibility of 18 games. He first mentioned it last month on Pat McAfee's show. What are the steps toward that end? That's the question that Goodell was asked on Wednesday.
The key thing for us is looking at making sure we continue to do the things to make our game safer. So we want to make sure that that hits the first boundary. 17 games is a long season. That's number one. Working with our players' associations, number two. We would reach an agreement with them if we're going to proceed on that level. But we also, third, and this is not necessarily in order, is the quality of our game. We would do it in the context of reducing the number of preseason games. We think that's a good trade. Less preseason games and more regular season games, I think most anybody would think was beneficial. I think I was asked about the idea of playing on Saturday night. And so the idea of it was really just a reaction. There's other alternatives to playing on a Saturday night. And if you had one more week of the season, you'd be playing on President's Weekend. That's how it came up. I wasn't floating something that we're actively thinking about now. It is something that we think about in the long-range context. Again, moving to quality and making sure that we're doing everything possible to bring our fans what they want. And they want, obviously, more football. But I'm not sure they want more preseason football.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, look, he earns every dollar. He earns every dollar. Baloney. I'm sorry. If I'm going to get in trouble, I may as well go all in. That's baloney. They won 18 games. We know they won 18 games. We were at the forefront of this because, remember, the Andrew Berry thing. We want to delay the trade deadline 2 weeks. Why 2 weeks? 1 week for 17 and 1 week for 18. And I started talking to people in Indy. Oh, yeah, 18's coming. 18's coming. That's his way of getting it out there. And this idea that it's a fair trade, it's not a fair trade to take away games that the starters don't play in.
Exactly
and
right.
replace them with games the starters do play in.
And
that
just to
is
add
so
to that,
disingenuous.
Trade game that makes a few $1 million for games that make hundreds of millions. Oh, you'll do that? You'll do that, the NFL? You'll trade that game that makes just a few million for another few games that make hundreds of millions? Oh, I wouldn't think you'd make that trade. Yeah, of course. Come on. You're right. And with all that preseason talk and all that, listen, I understand that it's still valuable. The players shouldn't make that the trading point. Oh, you had another game and you don't do preseason. We've talked about this a lot. This is a common thought around the NFL. The Players Association needs to wake the F up a little bit and stop we'll trade days in that we're going to work to get better for days that'll make money. That's not the right way to do it. That's not protecting the players. The young guys, we don't have enough reps for the young guys. We need preseason football. So that's not an equal trade, and the Players Association shouldn't buy that, right? Or we want to not work as much in the offseason. Why? It's going to make the players not as good. It's adding the injury rate up. The NFLPA needs to adjust their stance on this a little bit. Not the extra regular season game for trading of a preseason game to the point you said not only are the starters not playing, but also now you're going to lose the ability to grow our younger crop of players coming up. It's not good for the league that way. That's not good. And I hope the NFLPA realizes that it's not good for any of the players that are not stars or haven't played in the league for, more than 4 years. They need the preseason. They need OTAs. They need training camp. And it conditions the body not only to get ready for the football season, but also makes them better football players. In a league, in a sport, we know there's no minor leagues. It's hard to groom players to get them better in our current system right now.
Also, and Pete and I are currently arguing in the document about the fact, and this is a fact, the Steelers also have 3 games in 10 days. So it's 7 teams. And Pete, here's the simple solution. Monday to Thursday is the same as Sunday to Wednesday. Monday to Thursday is the same as Sunday to Wednesday. It's 3 games in 10 days. So there are 7 teams that play 3 games in 10 days this year, back to our original point. So, look, the bottom line is 18 games is coming. And under the logic that Goodell articulated, Chris, you know what's ultimately going to happen? The thing that I have been envisioning for a while now. It may not happen in my lifetime, especially if I keep talking so candidly about the machinations of the NFL, but they're going to have 20 regular season games and no preseason.
Holy crap.
That's where this is eventually going to go.
Holy crap.
There's going to be no preseason because you can't make any money off the preseason. No preseason, 20 regular season games, more teams eventually. Look, we have an insatiable appetite for professional football. So what do you do about that if you are the supplier of professional football? You give us more, especially if you make more money. And the other side of it, too, is now that the NFL is kind of morphing into the house, the dirty little secret that owners can hold up to 5% equity in a sportsbook company, how does a house make more when the system is rigged in your favor? How do you make more money? You have more stuff people can bet on. You have more blackjack tables. If the casino is full, you add more tables. It's that simple. They're adding more tables to the casino. That's all this is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, I know they're going to expand it. I can't even wrap my head around 20. I'm just getting there with 18 and hoping for another bye week, right? But yeah, you're right. I mean, the money, all that, and like, oh, come on, let's be serious too. They're making money on the preseason game. It's just not the money they want to make when they go, wait, we can trade that for, $100 million more in this game. We'll trade it. I mean, they're making money no matter what. But yeah, it makes more money with the regular season games because of TV contracts and all that, as you've explained so far. And that's where I just want the NFL to be careful. Hey, I'm all for them growing and being better and making money and all of that. But, again, me, coaches I talk to all over football, our Jason Garrett, they would all argue that we're doing the young players of the league a disservice right now. They're an injustice in getting prepared, getting conditioned for football, and the NFLPA has to stop going, hey, we'll trade practice time that actually gets our players ready for more games. That's not a fair trade. They got to come up with something new there, and that's what they got to do. They want more games, right? No franchise tag. They want no more games, no more fifth-year option. Those are the kind of things the NFLPA needs to bargain against the NFL. The NFL's going more games no matter what. So don't screw the players over here, and that's what I'm going to continue to fight against.
Here's what's going to happen, though. I think the best they can hope for is increased rosters and a second bye week. Here's what's going to happen. And this is why I think the union is going to agree to 18 games. You play out the current CBA. At the end of the day, the owners want 18 games. We're going to get 18 games. How will we get 18 games? We'll lock you out. And we'll shut down the league for a full season if we have to. Because we don't care. We're going to own the teams for 30 years. We'll shut it down. We got plenty of other money. We know that you won't go along with it. 87 and 2011. The two examples in the past 35 years of the players not wanting to do without a full season of game checks. So that's why the union agreed to 17. DeMaurice Smith, who caught a lot of heat from the rank and file for this, he pushed 17 because he knew what would happen. They'd lock him out again until we say yes to 17. That's what's going to happen down the road. And when you consider some of the things that have been said by current union management, they're going to agree to 18. The question is, what can they get? Reducing the preseason is not enough. That is not a fair trade.
It's not a fair trade. That's
it's not a fair trade
here. Yes, right.
Not even close.
No.
Not even close to a fair trade.
No.
John Mara, the Giants co-owner, said of 18 games, I can't say I'm necessarily crazy about extending the season. I worry more about player fatigue and wear and tear on the players moving forward. That's one of the reasons why we have to have the discussion with the players union. This is the kind of thing where you get a phone call from somebody at 345 saying, don't talk about this openly. Let's not make the case for the players.
Yeah.
We're supposed to all be on the same page here.
Well,
remember when they had the lockout in 2011? You got fined if you even talked about it. My guess is there are no bouquet. If it's a bouquet, if there's anything sent to John Mara today by the league, it's in a bag and it's been lit on fire.
Yeah, well, I love the Maras because of this. This is the human side of the Mara family that I've always respected and loved, and I know I have some bias here, right? They were part of helping me have my silver spoons as a kid there in northern New Jersey. But at the same time, they care about people. They care about players. I think he cares about his fans. What did he oppose last year, right? What was that?
He was against the Thursday Night Flexing.
Exactly.
He was
right.
the loudest voice against it.
Right. And you know what they did to him this year to give him that big pile of shit in a brown bag on his front step? You know what they did? They gave him the one thing
I
he
tried to
doesn't
be
like.
subtle.
Well, the hell was subtle, okay? Here we go. You know what they did? They did the thing that I know the Maras and the Giants don't like the most. They gave him a Thursday night, a night game at home against the Dallas Cowboys. That's one of the Giants. I've known this forever. It's one of the things they don't love. And that was, I bet you, the league sticking it to the Giants for maybe what you're saying with Mara pushing back or whatever.
It's all
but
fair
I give him
game
respect
now.
for that.
It's all fair game.
It's the mafia.
It's all fair game.
It's the mob.
For us to
It
say,
literally is.
You said it. It's all fair game, though. They've broken down the wall. It's all fair game for us to look at that game and say, why was that game given to that team under those circumstances? Why was that team given 3 games in 10 days? It's all fair game because they've admitted that they're basically... I can't think of the right word, so I'll just go with nothing. But they've admitted that they're playing games with the teams by determining who plays when, who gets a tough schedule, and who doesn't. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.